Recently, I got into a Tokusatsu craze and has been partaking the consumption of the various series under its flag for the sake of further understanding the allure of this house of Japanese entertainment. I gave myself one rule: give every series a try, be it Kamen Rider, Kaiju, or Garo. It is inevitable then the Giant Hero subgenre is on my checklist, and there's just one title conveniently set in my backlog: SSSS.GRIDMAN, produced by one of my favorite studio, Trigger. Now, as a greenhorn Toku viewer, the stigma from an outsider point of view had undeniably affected my general image on this specific genre. You know the deal. It's for kids. It's just adults fighting in rubber suits. Immature, that sort of stuff. And sadly, it even seems to be less likely to be taken seriously more so than anime. Perhaps this image is partly related to how the genre does their bidding, selling physical toys. But when they are approached with a vision, I believe Tokusatsu, just like any other genres, can still be made to tell highly intriguing stories for a wider audience while faithfully utilizing its formula. A medium is part of a tool chosen by the creators to express their vision, and only the ignorant will be blinded by that colored lens and lose their chance for a good piece of art. Nobody wins at that point, really. A genre tag doesn't default itself to be of lesser among its contemporaries. If Godzilla is an allegory of nuclear and natural disaster, why would that make giant heroes subjugating evil any less meaningful? Look at the bigger picture, my buddy. This divided perception from the outside versus the long-time Toku fans regarding to the entire Tokusatsu entertainment is definitely a duality worth exploring. But as the title of this video suggests, this is not about the coverage of that grand yet niche topic, but putting SSSS.GRIDMAN under the scope and explore the various dualities within the show. I think SSSS.GRIDMAN fits as one of the great examples. One of those Toku shows that dons that stereotypical image of its material up front, while creating layers upon layers underneath. Trigger's animation adaptation wasn't putting merchandising as its main priority. Rather, it was given the good old anime production treatment, and on good hands, it works like wonder. Though through a beautiful cross of fate, it has become a tokusatsu that promotes alluring toys instead of the traditional production lines of cool toys, if you know what I mean. Hey, that might be the first duality of the show. All's right with the world. SSSS.GRIDMAN is undeniable a huge love letter of the original Denkou Choujin Gridman, aired in 1993, a Giant Hero title heavily themed around technology. It accepts the mantle that was left by the original, bringing over, carry on, referencing, and even improve upon a lot of the same elements from its predecessor. What's worth a mention is that the original only ever had one season to shine back in the days. I speculate this has allowed a lot of liberty for this new adaptation to acquire a new identity and steer towards any directions in favor of the director Amemiya Akira and his team, as the baggage of being faithful to the original must have been minimal and were left for the team's judgments. And a new identity they made indeed, whilst retaining the charm of the classic rubber suit Denkou Choujin, a highly respectable fusion between the old and the new. With amazing directing, increased depth of characters, greatly choreographed battles animated by hands and mostly 3D, and even a distinctive music and sound design approach, this show has it all, and it all combined in enhancement upon Gridman's original flavor, giving it a bold characteristic that crosses the usual line of how Tokusatsu was viewed upon, if I do say so myself. Through this show, I've got to experience the utmost disgusting side of human nature, gripping emotions, and downright hilarity all in one, in no small part thanks to the music of the show, or lack thereof. It is amazing how the minimal approach of the sound has led to such effective delivery of the narrative and the myriads of emotions it is trying to send across. Save for a few occasions or when the action kicks in, music was deliberately left out throughout the mundane school lives of our Alliance members. The background is constantly filled by ambient noises in return. For environmentals, we have the trademark cicadas chirping during the summer heat, student activities within the school, traffics on the street, and so on. And when depicting the mind states of certain characters, it is even paired by an unpleasant hum. Of course, when there are tunes, they make the most of it. Veteran composer Sagisu Shiro, famed for creating music for some of the most influential shows in the industry, is responsible for all the heroic, triumphant, and hype. Not to discredit the man's contribution to the show, but the minimal approach to music insert replaced by the heavy use of environmental ambient noises is, in my opinion, equally crucial and memorable in contribution to the tone of this show. With mostly natural noises to sustain the background, and the heavy and deliberate usage of close-ups on characters' faces, they effectively exacerbate the myriads of emotions presented through the characters and scenarios. When a joke happens, it is funny by itself raw. No goofy tracks or wacky sound effects necessary. When we are shown Akane's twisted personality on full display, in contrast with her charming facade at school, it is gut-punchingly disgusting and uncomfortable. Perhaps the saying, less is more, accurately describes the intent. But there's one more factor that propels the brilliance of such approach even further, as the show finally reveals the biggest mystery of the story. On episode 6, the descendant of the kaiju Anoshiratsu from the original series unveils to Yuta the mastermind behind the kaiju phenomenon and the true state behind this city they currently reside, it being a fabricated world molded to fit a twisted individual. And now, with the facts unfold to us that this town where the story is told, along with the lives it accommodates, are mere artificial creations, a realization coming from the intent of using minimal musical pieces came back full swing for a surprise. The lack of music provides a sense of realism along with uneasiness. Realism as it mimics reality instead of using music scores, and uneasiness from knowing all these are but just empty and artificial, yet has been so convincingly real and grounded this whole time. Probing our thoughts to reassess this space we have settled with comfort along with the characters. Downright existential horror right there. The achievement of such duality extends beyond the brazen approach of the audio. The visuals of the ED also features Akane, Rika, and several classmates blending over real photographs of a school, further blurring the lines between reality and fabrication until the end of each watch session. And of course, it didn't just stop there. SSSS.GRIDMAN is also a very self-aware show that blatantly plays into the Tokusatsu tropes and even make fun of it lightly with respect. Such attitude is echoed via the character Utsumi Sho, classic transformation sequences, finisher moves with catchphrases, turnabout of the fights, and even the blatant reuse of animation set pieces. Constantly making references of its own genre lightens the mood and present an impression that begs you to not take the show too seriously. But it also repeatedly and swiftly pulls you back with the underlying dark tone beneath the fun. This duality between attempting humor and reassuring something evil is underwork is sustained throughout the entire run of the series, whether it be in the midst of a serious battle or a nonchalant conversation. Always preparing to switch side to the opposite mood or hang in between the two, creating this suspense and relief dynamic that is representative of this show. Once again, to remind you that this is an Ultraman kind of show. These elements are also supported by the voice acting. The chatters between characters always carry a carefree tone to remind you how real these characters are, helping even more with the humor that comes with it. Playing into the illusion the show puts up, this nuance in their acting yet again sets up the correct punches, further cementing a particular atmosphere in line with the show's mystery. A few of the performers stood out to me, and they are Rika and her mother. Their casual family banters demonstrate best what I meant.
まあ、あの人たちお金なさそうだしね。
ねえ、せんべいうま。
Anocilus II also deserves praise. Her voice has an uncanny flavor that is befitting for a quote-unquote monster child. As a result, her actions of helping Yuta felt a little uncertain to me initially, effectively made me second-guess her intention.
私、怪獣だよ。
怪獣?
Somehow, a character whose purpose is to crack the secret wide open ended up keeping the mystery rolling with her presence. Some may call her a mere Easter egg character, but to me, she's an excellent addition to the new story, and her integration to a mystery-filled show is not only fantastically done, but also symbolic of the team's love, respect, and vision of the Gridman property. And finally, the pillars of Giant Heroes, Gridman and their counterpart Kaiju. With Anti's transformation becoming Grid Knight himself, it is suggested that the origin of Gridman could be of Kaiju's lineage, but with free will and purpose they can manifest their own judgment and follow through, instead of obeying commands from their creator. To destroy or to protect is up to them. While this was foreshadowed as soon as Anti's first appearance, another hint that points towards this theory comes from the cameo kaiju Anocilus mentioned previously. In the original, Anocilus is a friendly kaiju, resides within the computer world itself, not crafted by the villain. It was rescued from corruption thanks to Gridman in a particularly memorable episode 6. While this kaiju was an anomaly in the entire series, a natural-born, kind kaiju indicates that these entities exist out in the digital space without humans' interventions. Its descendant, suggesting they can even produce offsprings, carried on the goodwill and provide assistance to the hero. The existence of the hyper-agents, Anti, along with the alien race, are constantly being questioned as the story drives toward the end. What's the prerequisite to become a grid? Anti, being called a defect, reflects the hidden desire to change within Akane's heart, as he is her own creation. So now, a being of half kaiju and half human, what is kaiju exactly? Are they manifestations of humans' evil will in the grander scheme? The destructions brought upon by Akane and the alien, and Gridman's power to inspire and mend, both derived from the same intention that is making changes. Agents, Anti, Alien, Akane, SSSS Gridman. All this supplementary theming being thrown around deepens and expands the lore of the fictional universe, while subsequently questions the bigger picture outside the scope of the observed story, allowing different kinds of interpretations and increasing the depth of the classic duality of good and evil, both sides of the same coin. I am extremely delighted that a supposedly Sunday morning childhood pastime had the leisure to take a sharp turn and put up so much to chew on and under the table. Preserving the spirit of Denkou Choujin is a valiant effort by the team over at Trigger, but to inject so much freshness at the same time is truly formidable. Without the natural atmosphere given by the ambience, I would imagine the emotional deliveries from the characters would not achieve such degree of impact that ultimately gives the show its distinct tone. For a series originally for kids, it sure has portrayed the ugly side of human psychology without holding punches. Without the distinct tone, it could easily remain as a high-spirited giant hero show. But what's the holdup from transforming the property and propels it to greater heights? Make it foreboding, disturbing, terrifying, and touching. Embrace and celebrate the strongest points of its legacy, while also evolving the base formula from multiple angles. Director Amemiya and his team has done Gridman justice, and more. SSSS.GRIDMAN is no run-of-the-mill tokusatsu entertainment. This is indeed a special signature to save a soul. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If this video has enhanced your appreciation of SSSS.GRIDMAN, consider giving it a like and subscribe to my channel, Moon Anime. I'm trying my best to build the channel, and I can really use some algorithm points in that regard. Appreciate the help. It is a huge honor if you think this video is worthy to be shared around in the digital space. Let me know your take on the show too. I'm always down to see the different angles others could extract other than my own. SSSS.GRIDMAN is definitely one worthy of discussions. Amemiya Kantoku single-handedly reassures me that Trigger is still rocking, and probably will rock for more. And while I have the chance, I would also suggest you to watch the original Denkou Choujin Gridman, the Japan one. I always recommend the full experience, and there are some standout episodes that makes it worthwhile, so give it a chance. I will also humor some small talks and tweet about anime and games over at Twitter, so follow me at MoonAnime9 or join me at the secret group. This marks the final video of a series I've prepared to kickstart the channel. It probably, hopefully, won't be the last, since I still have plenty of ideas and scripts in the works. But whatever comes next will probably not have a trailer like these first 11 videos, unless it is a huge project I want to promote. YouTube is indeed a venture I'm taking seriously, also one that is perhaps too risky to pursue at this point. But you know, let fate decide while I give it my all. I hope you would deem my stuffs worthy and follow me along. Once again, thank you so much for watching any of my videos, however few of you, and I'll see you again from the moon.